White Album is a Japanese adult visual novel developed by Leaf, and was originally released on May 1, 1998 for Microsoft Windows PCs as a CD-ROM. A PlayStation 3 version published by Aquaplus with several modifications was released in 2010. A sequel to the original visual novel, titled White Album 2, was released in 2 parts in 2010 and 2011. The gameplay in White Album follows a linear plot line, which offers predetermined scenarios and courses of interaction, and focuses on the appeal of the female main characters. White Album has received several transitions to other media. A manga adaptation illustrated by Japanese illustrator Chako Abeno began serialization in the shōnen magazine Dengeki Daioh in August 2008. It was followed by an anime adaptation produced by 7 Arcs, which began broadcast in Japan on January 3, 2009. Characters from White Album are also featured as partner characters. Aquapazza, Aquaplus Dream Match, a fighting game developed by Aquaplus with characters from various Leaf games. Gameplay. The gameplay in White Album requires little player interaction as most of the game's duration is spent on reading the text that appears on the screen, which represents either dialogue between the various characters or the inner thoughts of the protagonist. Before the beginning of every week in the game's storyline, the player is given the option to plan a schedule, and is allowed to participate in various activities or to take the day off for rest. Different events associated with different characters occur depending on the activities the player chooses to participate. During several of these events, the player will also be given the chance to engage the character in a conversation, where he or she may also pick a topic as the basis of the conversation. Every so often, the player will come to a decision point, where he or she is given the chance to choose from options that are displayed on the screen, typically 2 to 3 at a time. The time between these points varies and can occur anywhere from a minute to much longer. Text progression pauses at these points, and depending on which choice the player makes, the plot will progress in a specific direction. To view all of the plot lines, the player will need to replay the game multiple times and make different schedules and choices during decision points to progress the plot in an alternate direction. Plot and characters. The player assumes the role of Taya, White Album a male protagonist. Taya is a 20-year-old university student in his second year attending the Yanagi University. He has a timid, yet vulgar personality, and is often unorganized. He often laments the amount of time he has to spend with Yuki Morikawa, who he is romantically attracted to. Yuki, White Album a main heroine, is an idol singer who is rising in popularity, and is affiliated with the Agata Productions. She has a warm and kind-hearted personality, and is in her second year at university. She and Taya were students at the same high school. Rina Agata, another heroine, is a popular idol singer with the same management agency as Yuki. Rina is elegant and intelligent, and good friends with Yuki. She is lonely because of her busy work schedule and develops feelings for Taya. Taya also meets several other characters throughout the story. Misaki Sawakura is a gentle and caring third-year university student. She likes to read and cook, and like Yuki, she attended high school with Taya prior to entering university. Haruka Kawashima has known Taya since kindergarten and is in her second year of university. Haruka is very quiet, and although she is athletic, generally prefers leisure sports such as taking walks. She used to play tennis but stopped after her brother's untimely death. Mana Mizuki, White Album a fifth heroine, is a high school student whom Taya tutors. Mana has an impudent and aggressive personality. She is antisocial and dislikes interacting with others, to the extent that at times she skips both school and Taya's tutoring sessions. Development. White Album is the 6th game developed by Leaf, after their previous titles such as To Heart. Scenario for White Album was worked on by Adaru Harada, as his second work on a visual novel. Scenario assistance was provided by Akide Takebayashi. Art direction and character designs for the game was provided by Hisashi Kawata. Work on the music for the game was split between 3 people, Shinya Ishikawa, Katsuhide Nakagami, and Noa Shimokawa, the president of Aquaplus. Much of the development team, with the exception of Harada, have previously worked on Leaf's previous title, To Heart. Release history. White Album was first released to the public on May 1, 1998 as a CD-ROM, playable on Windows 95 PCs. The game was later re-released on June 20, 2003, with additional support for later versions of the Microsoft Windows operating system. An all-ages version for the PlayStation 3 entitled White Album, Suzuru Fu no Omoid, was released on June 24, 2010 by Aquaplus, with full voice acting and additional scenarios, while eliminating simulation elements found in the original release. An all-ages port for Windows XP, Vista, and 7 operating systems, based on the PS3 version, was released for download on the content delivery website dmm.com on March 30, 2012, and a downloadable version of the PS3 game will follow on November 27, 2014. Shimokawa stated that the development team decided to produce a PlayStation 3 version as they wanted to recreate the game in high-definition quality, and because they wanted to provide accessibility for players who have played Tears to Tiara, Keiken no Daichi. The PS3 version employs the motion portrait technology in its graphics rendering to create animated sprites. Shimokawa explained that although several other visual novel titles employed 3D computer graphics to create animations, the technology was unable to portray the details that artists maintain in their original illustrations, and the decision to use motion portrait was made in order to allow fluid animations to be created using static 2D computer graphics. The technology took the development team a year to perfect, because of complications such as unnatural character movement. Kawata commented that the process took more time than the illustrations to complete. He noted that it was complicated to adapt his character designs for the PS3 version, as he attempted to create an overall design that resembles the graphics found in the original Windows version, but without its dated appearance. A sequel to the original visual novel entitled White Album 2, Introductory Chapter developed by Leaf was released on March 26, 2010. The second part, White Album 2, Closing Chapter was released on December 22, 2011. Adaptations. Manga. White Album was first adapted into a manga series illustrated by Japanese illustrator Chako Abeno, known for her previous work on Solar. The manga adaptation began its serialization in the shōnen manga magazine Dengeki Daioh on June 27, 2008, and was published by ASCII Media Works in 3 compiled volumes. Anime. White Album has also received an anime adaptation based on the visual novel. The anime series, produced by 7 Arcs, directed by Akira Yoshimura and written by Hiroaki Sata, is broadcast in 2 sets of 13 episodes. The first 13 episodes began broadcasting in Japan on January 3, 2009 on the TV Kanagawa Broadcasting Network, and was followed by other networks later the same month. A second set of 13 episodes was broadcast in fall 2009. In a magazine-published interview, producer Akio Michima and Aquaplus president Noa Shimokawa stated that an anime adaptation was considered by King Records as early as the time the visual novel was released, but was not discussed until 3 years prior to the interview. Music. 3 pieces of theme music were used in the visual novel. The opening theme, White Album, also used as an insert song, was performed and written by a ghostwriter and is credited to Yuki Morikawa, one of the heroines of the game, and was composed by Shinya Ishikawa. The insert song, Sound of Destiny, was credited to Rina Igata, another heroine, for performance, and was written by Shako Sadani and composed by Katsuhide Nakagami. The ending theme, Powder Snow, was sung by Akko, and was written by Sadani and composed by Noa Shimokawa. Each song, with the exception of the ending theme which was arranged solely by Shimokawa, was arranged by Junya Matsuoka and the song's respective composers. A maxi single titled White Album was later released on December 23, 1998, containing the 3 theme songs. The opening theme to the first season of the anime adaptation is Shina performed by Nana Mizuki, and the ending theme is Murayoshi Ryuki no Yani performed by Suara. The opening theme to the second season of the anime adaptation is Mugen, also performed by Nana Mizuki, and the ending theme is Akaito performed by Suara. Both are released on October 28, 2009. 5 insert singles were also released under the names of the main heroines. White Album and Koyaro Sora were performed by Iya Hirano as Yuki Morikawa. Sound of Destiny and Powder Snow by Nana Mizuki as Rina Igata. A final single, Powder Snow, was released by both singers as a duet. The soundtrack and character songs were compiled into the album, White Album Character Song Best and Soundtrack. References. External links: Official Leaf White Album Visual Novel Website, Official Aquaplus White Album Visual Novel Website, Anime's official website, White Album at Anime News Network's Encyclopedia, White Album at the Visual Novel Database.